Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another Operation Monster Force review. And today we're taking a look at the big bad of the whole situation, and that would be the Forgotten King. Huge thank you to Fresh Monkey Fiction and Big Bad Toy Store for sending this out to me to review. I do appreciate it. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, starting off with the awesome packaging. I've been loving the boxes that these figures come in. Not only do they have like a lot of cool graphic art and stuff, but there's also some cool information about the characters and comic book panels and all types of cool stuff. On the front here, you can see that we get a good look at the Forgotten King himself, and they have him in front of a really cool background that has a pyramid and like some ancient ruins and some clouds. It looks really dope. On the front, it says Operation Monster Force. On the side, it says Forgotten King, Monster Force, Big Bad Workshop. On the back, we get a brief, like, rundown of the whole situation that these characters are in. Down here, we get a look at the other figures from this season. We get another look at the Forgotten King. And then on the front, again, you can open this up and we get a look at the figure itself, and he's looking pretty badass. And then over here, we have some more awesome looking comic book art. And so far, his story seems to be the most interesting, along with Dracula. There's a lot of cool stuff going on there, so be sure to read this. I really hope that they give us like a full graphic novel of the Operation Monster Force situation. That would be really cool. But anyways, enough about the awesome looking box. Let's go ahead and get this guy out and take a look. Alrighty, so here we have the Forgotten King. And man, this dude is really, really dope. He may be in the running for the best in the wave, in my opinion. And it's funny because he has a lot of similarities to Dracula. I mean, it's basically the same thing as Dracula, except for the overlay suit is slightly different. Like the shirt underneath the jacket is a little different than Dracula. But aside from that, everything feels very similar. But for whatever reason, I just like this figure more. Like, I think I do like the Delta Troopers a little bit more. But I will say he's right up there with them. And I think it's because he's all white. So, like, he just looks a lot better. And, you know, you don't have to worry about any paint flaking or anything like that. And it's just a cool figure. And I really like the whole story behind him, you know. The fact that he's the big bad and he kind of has this, like, you know, very Mr. Knight kind of vibe going on. It's super cool. I don't know. It makes for a dope figure. And he just comes with a lot of cool stuff. I had a lot of fun when I was taking this figure out of the box and messing around with it. It's got a really cool design. I love the head sculpt with the pharaoh type of designs in there and the gold and all that. It looks really cool along with the white. And yeah, man, I think it's a dope figure. But the main thing about it is the fact that they didn't have to really use any paint. It's just casted in white and it just works really well. So I think this guy came out awesome. I'm very happy with it. And man, the design of the Forgotten King's head sculpt is awesome. I really like what we have going on here. As you could see, it does have like pharaoh type elements. And I love that like there's different shades of gold in there. There's some like darker gold to outline certain things. The blue in there is a nice contrast to the rest of the gold. The blue eyes look amazing. And yeah, this just has a really cool look to it. And look at all the details. There's all kinds of great stuff going on in there. And then even back here, there's some like subtle designs hidden in there. I don't know what this is right here, but you know, some more just kind of different things going on. Man, look at that. That is such a crazy looking head sculpt. That is really dope. And another thing I love about it is that like this stuff is soft plastic, so you don't have to worry about breaking it. And then down here, these are also pretty soft plastic, so they're not as soft as the top, but you know, there's a little bit of give to them so that, you know, they're not going to get in the way too much when you're moving the head around. But man, this is a cool looking head sculpt. That's a great design for a character. And then moving on to the body, yeah, you know, there's not a whole lot going on. Obviously, he's all white with a little bit of gold details, but he looks good. And I like that they were able to just cast it in white. That way you don't have to worry about any paint imperfections or anything like that. He does have a gold belt buckle. But yeah, there's really not a whole lot to talk about here. It's hard to see the details, really. But, you know, there's some sculpting work in there. The jacket is the same as Dracula, like we already said. But, yeah. You know, not a whole lot of details in the body to really talk about because everything is just white and, you know, the sculpt is what it is. There's like a shirt and a jacket and some wrinkles on the arms and some texture on the legs. But aside besides that, there's not really too much going on. But yeah, the coolest thing about the entire figure is definitely the head sculpt. This is so dope, man. It's such a great design for a character. And then for accessories, the Forgotten King comes with a bunch of cool stuff, including 10 different sets of hands, which is absolutely ridiculous. To give this figure 10 pairs of hands, that's crazy. But the reason why he has 10 sets is because there are 3 different styles, and then, you know, he has like all the different versions for each style. So as far as the 3 different styles go, the first one is we have like the bare hands, which are cool. And then he has gloved hands. And these hands are basically just repaints of the hands that we saw with some of the other Monster Force figures. And then he has a bunch of like energy effect hands. So that's the 3 different styles. And then each style of hands come with like the different versions. So we do get 3 sets of open hands. We get 3 sets of fists, 3 sets of gripping hands. The energy effect hands do get 1 extra. They have a set of flat hands. The other styles do not come with the flat hands. So he gets 3 sets of gloved hands, the bare hands get 3 sets, and the energy effects get 4 sets. And these blue effect hands are really dope, man. I like how clear they are. You can actually see my background through the hands. Usually when people have like a translucent type of thing going on, it's a little cloudy. But right here, it's super crystal clear. Look at that. So it would be cool to get some light behind these and kind of do different things for photos. But yeah, I was surprised at how clear. Man, look at that. That is so dope. I was surprised how clear these hands were. And the Forgotten King only comes with 1 weapon, but this thing is badass. As you could see, he has this really cool looking staff. And there's a look at him holding on to it. But yeah, this thing has some great detail in it. I love that skull. And I like how the whole design of it kind of matches his helmet. There's a lot of great sculpting work and different color paints in there. You could see there's like different shades of gold, a little bit of blue, and then the bone color for the skull. Yeah, this is great, man. This looks nice. And then over on this side, we have like a blade kind of thing. And it comes with an extra one of these, so you could put one on each side if you want to do like a double-bladed weapon. And then the handle itself has like wraps on it. Kind of like a mummy, right? That's cool. And then he does come with some cool spell effects that you could put onto his wrist. And as you could see, I have this one on like the actual sleeve of his jacket, because if you just have it on the hand, it'll spin around and you can't really like get it into a good position that you'd want. But if you put it onto the wrist of the jacket, it stays snug right there. So that is nice. But yeah, these are cool and they match the hands. Like they have that same like crystal clear type of look. So they could definitely catch some light, as you could see. You could see right through it, but it still has a blue look to it. Yeah, these things are really nice. Check out the details on them here. Lots of nice random magical effects in there. So yeah, these things are very cool. And then for a couple of quick size comparisons, here we have the Forgotten King alongside the Monster Force Declan Van Helsing and the Monster Force Dracula. Next up, we have him alongside the Monster Force Delta Red Troopers. And to me, for the look of the Forgotten King, it feels like they definitely took some influence from Mr. Knight. So here we have him alongside the Aton Customs Mr. Knight. And then on the opposite side, we have the Marvel Legends Moon Knight with the custom cape. And then here we have him alongside the Coffin Comics La Muerta by Loose Collector. And then on the opposite side, we have the Mythic Legions Skeleton Legion Builder by the Four Horsemen. And then, of course, here we have him alongside the Marvel Legends Bucky Cap and the Marvel Legends Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. And then last but not least, we have him alongside the Unparalleled Universe Odious figure. More information for him is in the description below. And then on the opposite side, we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Kirby, aka Jack Kirby. And there are no surprises in the articulation department. Like I mentioned before, you know, the whole setup here is very similar to Dracula with the body, the overlay, and all that stuff. So he could pretty much only do what Dracula was able to do, which honestly was not very much. But I will say, I am having fun playing around with this figure, and I think you could get him into some pretty powerful looking poses. And, you know, I think that works like with what we know about the characters, so that's good. But honestly, I do wish there was more going on here, especially in the torso. But let's go ahead and see what they did, starting off at the head. So we do have a ball joint at the lower neck and a ball hinge at the upper neck. So using both of those, he's able to look up to about right there, which is pretty good, especially considering the awkward size of the head. And then he could look down to about right there, which again, is not too bad at all. I would be careful about like pushing his head forward too much, because I feel like the gold from these things could kind of rub onto the white of the suit. So be careful there. But yeah, we do get some good range. And then he's able to look side to side, which is nice. And then we get some tilting action. So pretty good movement at the head and the neck area. And then for the torso, he does have a diaphragm cut and a ball joint at the waist, but obviously they are covered by his shirt there, so we're not going to get too much movement. We do get some twist out of it, which is nice. And then we get a little like leaning side to side and, you know, very minimal range of motion out of those joints with this overlay. He's able to crunch forward to about right there. Yeah, so that's not very much. And even pushing it this much is kind of like, you know, separating the jacket a little bit. So you want to be careful with that. So yeah, man, I really wish they did something different with the torso, but it is what it is. A part of me kind of wants to take off the shirt piece because he does have a tie that looks like it's a separate piece in there. So I wonder how it would look if we took this out and just kind of had it hanging out with the tie there. That would be kind of cool. And then we'd get the range out of the torso joints. I don't know. Maybe if I get like an extra, I'll do that. For now, I'm going to keep it like this. And I think I mentioned it, but yeah, he gets a twist right here at the waist, and that's pretty much all we get out of the torso. And then for the arms, he does have butterfly joints, which is nice. He has ball joints at the shoulders that go all the way around. And his arms could come up to the side to about right there. So that works. He has upper bicep swivel, double jointed pinless elbows. They get a good bend. Bam, there we go. Yeah, so good stuff at the arms. Get him in cool, like, power wielding poses. And you can get his arms in front of him a pretty decent amount. Yeah, so that's nice. Pretty good stuff at the arms. And at the hand, we have a swivel and a hinge. And then for the legs, he does have drop down hips that only drop down to right there, and they really don't do much for the legs. They allow him to kick forward to like right there, which is not a whole lot. As you can see, the jacket has unlatched, and it's kind of, I'm going to keep it like this just so it stays out of the way a little bit, because there is a plug, so you could just plug it back in and it's fine. But I'm going to keep it like this because I feel like when you're posing the figure around, it's going to put pressure on this anyway, so that's fine. But yeah, kicks forward to about right there with the drop down hips, which is not a whole lot. Then he kicks to the side to about right there, which, you know, that's pretty decent. I don't imagine this guy does a bunch of karate or anything. I feel like he just possesses his enemies and, you know, casts spells on them and all that type of stuff. But if he needs to, he could get down with some high kicks. Bam, there we go. Not too bad. And then he does have upper thigh swivel, double jointed pinless knees, a swivel at the boot. His foot goes forward to right there, comes up to right there, then he has rocking ankles. So yeah, like I said, not a whole lot of articulation, but I am still having fun messing around with this figure. You know, you can't really do anything too dynamic, but you could get him into, you know, any type of position or pose that you would think a spell casting wizard type of character would need to get into, you know, like flight poses and all that. But obviously no crouching or anything too crazy. So the articulation is definitely limited. I wish there was something different going on at the torso, but aside from that, I am having fun playing around with the figure, and I think the articulation is pretty decent. Alrighty, so overall, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, the dust settles, and it's all said and done, I think this is a really dope figure. And to be honest with you, it kind of caught me by surprise. I did not expect to like this guy as much as I do. And you know, like I already had the Joe Fest exclusive translucent version, so like I already knew how the figure would handle and everything. And also, because he's so similar to Dracula, I thought that he would basically just feel the same as Dracula. And I like Dracula quite a bit, but, you know, I didn't love the overlay. I had some paint chipping, and, you know, I just felt like the paint wasn't as crisp and as clean as it would have been if it was just sculpted. So, you know, with this guy, I kind of just assumed I knew what I was getting into. And I won't say that I'm like completely surprised by what's going on here, but I am surprised by how much I like this figure considering all the similarities it has to the other figures. But yeah, man, this thing is dope. He's a whole lot of fun to play with, even though he does have limitations in the articulation department. The torso doesn't really do a whole lot, but I do feel like you could get him into some like imposing, powerful poses, which works really well for the character. I really like the accessories that he comes with. All the different hands are freaking ridiculous, but it's nice to have all the different options to do whatever you want. I really like the magical effects. That looks really cool, especially with the translucent hands. I love the big old staff that he comes with. That thing looks ridiculous. So I like the sculpting work on the head area and the different colors of gold that are in there. All that looks amazing. And I really like the design of this character. It reminds me of Mr. Knight, and I'm a huge Moon Knight fan, so there's that probably, you know, helping this figure a little bit. And I also really love like the head sculpt. The crazy pharaoh design looks amazing. I love the different golds in there. It's just a really cool looking figure. And the fact that he's the villain is really dope to me. I don't know. He doesn't seem like a villain right away. I would assume that Dracula would be the villain of the whole setup, but they chose to make this guy the bad guy. So yeah, man, I just think he seems like a really awesome character. He definitely comes across as like a powerful, menacing, kind of like emperor, like out for revenge. Like if you read the comic book panels on the inside of the packaging, it talks about how, you know, he was kind of like erased from history and people don't know about him and all this and that. And it just seems like he's coming for revenge, and the figure represents it really well. So like I said, I'm very happy with the way he turned out, and I'm surprised by how much I like this figure, considering that I thought I knew what I was getting into. So yeah, man, this thing is dope. And with that, I think that's it. Huge thank you to Big Bad Toy Store and Fresh Monkey Fiction for sending this guy out to me to review. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you're interested in pre-ordering any of these Monster Force figures, I'll leave a link to them in the description below. And thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Also, be sure to hit the bell notification so you know every time that I go live. Thank you very much. Peace.